Right then, England One Cat podcast. We are back. New season starts very soon, perhaps even this very day, depending on when this podcast goes out, and we are here to hype it up. Um, we're going to be talking through five players we think are most likely going to be England One Cat wonders. We're playing the Premier League this year. Asterix next to Premier League. We've just had a debate about whether just to be in the Premier League or not, but I will justify my reasoning later on. And as can you, Cal. Pleasure to see you, Cal. Are you excited for the new season?
I'm really excited for the new season. I'm sad and bitter that Leeds aren't involved in it. But maybe I'll take that sad and bitterness and use it in one of my selections. You never know. You just never know. But I'll have to wait and see. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Um, I'm worried that now that Leeds aren't in the Premier League, I won't watch as many games as I was. But I'll try and not do that. I'll try and be a proper fan.
Yep, absolutely, mate. I'm sure it will hook you in.
I'm sure.
And what a wonderful setup, as we say in the industry there. Let's get cracking.
Let's go.
Oh no, wait, I was going to ask you a question.
Go.
Watching the Winkest Link the other day, Carlton Cole.
Brilliant.
West Ham and England international. And then we had a debate. How many games do you have to play for England to be considered an England international? Carlton Cole, 7. I think it's fair.
He's played 7 games for England.
Yeah.
I would have said that he was never capped at all, but there you go.
My brother said 10 games should be to when you're allowed to call yourself an England international. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. Andy Carroll was certainly an England international with those 9 caps.
Yeah. I think 5. I think I'd say 5.
Really?
Yeah.
The Danny Ings era.
But then technically, if you're categorise it, if one category of England players are England 1 caps, of course, then surely anything after said 1 cap is an England international. Or is there this weird void with players with 2 to 4 caps?
I'll have to ask the host of the England 2 cap podcast to see what they think.
They'll probably get more views than us.
Whoa. Right, let's get cracking. We're going to say 5 players who we think could potentially be England 1 cap wonders. Do you want to go first? Should I go first?
I'll go first, and I'll get my rogue one that I hinted at out of the way.
Most likely.
Yeah, 5th most likely, and making good use of the asterisk. I can't even say that word. Because I've picked a Championship player, I've picked a Leeds player, shock horror. I've picked Archie Gray.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Now, it is interesting because he has Scottish heritage, so I think he could potentially play for Scotland down the line. But he's an English boy. He's 17 years old, and he just made his debut for Leeds United at the weekend against Cardiff at home, and he was absolutely excellent. And people around the club have been saying he's the next big thing, and they've been saying this for the past 2 years. Even under Bielsa, he was training with the first team, and last season in the Prem, he was apparently going to have quite a big role in the squad, but then got injured for most of the season. And I think if we go straight back up, which hoping we do, obviously I think he'll become a starter in the Premier League regularly. And I think as a young, then will be 18-year-old English central midfielder in the Premier League, you've got a great chance of being a 1 cap at the moment. And for that reason, I'm picking Archie Gray, because I think potentially he could actually get a really big move as well if we don't go up in the next couple of years. So, yeah, Archie Gray, my 5th pick. It's a bit out there, and there's a few risks, but I think it's a solid one.
That is a solid one, mate. Then one I was not expecting. When you said Lee, I thought you were going to say someone else. I think the fact you say that he's got a Scottish heritage also does enhance his 1 capness, in the sense that Southgate loves to get someone a cap just to stop him playing, didn't he? And he did that well. He did that. He literally was scouting Phillips when he was in the Championship as well. So perhaps there's a similar because of the same reason. That's interesting, mate. I can't say I'm familiar with the bloke, but I'll keep an eye out for him now for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, also thanks for mentioning the actual positive of the potential playing for Scotland, because I actually had that down as a reason why he maybe wouldn't, but I think you're right. Bit of a Declan Rice with Ireland situation, perhaps.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. I'll out for him. I'm going to go for my fifth most likely person. I'm going to go for a centre back at Wolverhampton Wanderers by the name of Max Kilman.
Ooh.
Because
I didn't have him on my list. I like it.
Well, I chopped and changed a bit, and I did have another centre back, and then I came to the conclusion I think Kilman's more likely. Club captain. I'm looking at him in a similar way to perhaps Lewis Dunk getting called up again last year. He didn't play when he got called up. I think he's still a one cap, but oh no, I don't know. But anyway, Lewis Dunk got called up last season, which perhaps was a surprise, making up the numbers somewhat. Wolves are a very strange club right now, and I don't really know what's going to happen to them this year. And I think they're going to have a great leader's performance in order to pull through this season. And it's often clubs in a position like that where someone like a centre half comes through for England and gets a good chance at the squad. I mean, the same thing happened to Conor Cody, you know. So I'm going to go for Max Kilman. But then again, I could also see Wolves finishing last, so I don't know. But I used to pick Kilman in my fantasy team when he just broke into the squad. I'm not saying I knew, I'm just saying it was a happy accident, and he got me lots of points. So I've been affectionate towards it ever since.
Yeah, I think that's a smart pick. And I don't know if you knew, and I think I'm right in saying this. I could be about to drop some horrific knowledge. Max Kilman, I think, has Ukrainian parents, or one of his parents from Ukraine. Oh, is that why you wore it? Is that why you wore it?
Definitely, yes.
Again, I'm not saying that that's the reason that he won't be a one cap, because young English centre halves, gold dust, etc., etc. I think it's the same as with Archie. I think it's more of a positive that there's that potential. But maybe I want to play for Ukraine if I'm playing devil's advocate. You don't know.
I don't know. I feel like if Max Kilman wanted to play for Ukraine and could play for Ukraine, he would have played by now. Do you not think?
That's a very good point. That is a very good point.
I don't know. But anyway, that's not dwindle on the fifth choice. That's mine, Max Kilman. I'm satisfied with that. Take us over. Who's your fourth place pick?
God, yeah, that was a really good pick. I'm disappointed. I don't. Okay, I'm gonna stick my number 4. I nearly bumped a bit higher, but I'll stick at 4 for now. I've got Oliver Skipp from Tottenham Hotspur.
Interesting.
He scored 2 goals against Barcelona yesterday in a friendly. That's not my only reasoning, but it is why it came to mind. Very much someone I thought might go down the Harry Winks of failed English midfielders from Spurs, but he was linked with Leeds actually this window, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of him, like done at the top level. But apparently he's sticking around at Spurs now and quite likes him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, young English centre mid. I think they've got a real advantage at the moment over a lot of other positions. Those in centre backs for sure. I don't necessarily think he's all that good, but I don't necessarily think you have to be all that good to get that one cap. And yeah, he could have a really good season this year under Ange if he is going to back him in centre mid. So yeah, I think you could even get it this season. So Ollie Skipp, I think, solid 4th. I maybe should have put him a bit higher, but I'll stick with him as my 4th.
That's a really good pick, mate. And if I'm honest, um I think Skip was my sixth, if I'm honest.
Oof.
He was
Yeah,
higher. I chopped and changed, but for another reason. That's a good point. And if he I mean, towards the second half of the last season, he was certainly getting a bit more game time. And even played him a couple of seasons now, he's been in and around the squad, isn't he?
yeah.
Um uh I think this is a season where there are so many teams I just don't know what to predict for them. And
Mm.
Spurs are there as well. Where Spurs could finish anywhere from, I was going to say fourth, anywhere from fifth or I don't know 13th. Realistically, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
I really want Ange to do well.
seems like a
Um,
good man.
yeah, I think I'm rooting for him more than I am actually rooting for Spurs. But yeah, I don't think there's any way they make top four. Which you'd then have to say the season's a failure. But I don't know. It's tough competition. So
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to say my next person because I think it goes as a good timing alongside Skip, and I'm going to go for Liverpool, also a centre midfielder, Mr. Curtis Jones. Um, both England 21s together, are they not? Um,
yeah,
again, Liverpool centre mid right now. Curtis Jones could play 38 games this year, theoretically. Klopp definitely likes him and has been putting him into the squad more and more over the last few years. He could play 38 games now that Hendo and Fabinho have gone. Um, and he's had great turnouts for under 21s. If you look at Hendo going away and now Calvin Phillips has been a little bit hit and miss, struggle for game times. I think if you look at this specifically, these England games we have in autumn, September or October, very very one cap periods of English football, particularly this time. And I think obviously we'll start Bellingham and Rice as our main midfielders, but I think that's going to be a time where he's going to want to shake it up a bit and see who can potentially step up if Phillips isn't there, if Henderson, if Henderson is going to be part of the England outfit or not, I don't know. It's a long way to go. So I think we're going to see one or two centre mids called up in that period, potentially Jones and Skip. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would put them. But but the reason I said Jones over Skip, it just felt like there's a bit more security with Klopp being Liverpool manager and backing Jones for quite a bit of time, um, as opposed to Skip. That's why I went over the two, him over the two of them. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's a great pick. I think you've probably done me on both the first two, to be honest. Curtis Jones. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a really good one. I've got nothing else to say. Um, again, I watched quite a lot of Liverpool, and I've never been blown away by him. But as you say, working well in that under 21 setup, I think definitely under Southgate gives you a pretty good chance.
yeah, definitely.
Team. Um, so might be seeing Jones and Skip
Yeah,
as a pick.
I've also not noticed him that much, but it's boring now. I've said there's loads about centre mid. Sometimes the centre mid's doing well when you haven't noticed them. You know what I mean? So maybe
Yeah.
it's the Curtis Jones effect. Maybe.
Okay. Interesting that you've just said a Liverpool potential one cap, because for my number three, I'm going for another Liverpool potential one cap. And I'm going for Harvey Elliott.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because Liverpool, he tends to often play actually a bit more of a centre mid, not like in the like holding like Fabinho sense, but kind of like pushing forward a bit more. Um, Before that, I would have naturally said he was a winger, and in which case he'd do very well to get a one cap as a winger for England currently. If he does keep playing in that centre mid position for England, for Liverpool, sorry, which he has done a lot and did a lot last season, Klopp loves him and puts a lot of faith in him. I think he's got a real chance, and I think technically he's a better player than Curtis Jones. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll get the cap before him.
Mm.
I'm not saying that. But yeah, I'm going Harvey Elliott. It's a bold three, and looking back, I'd maybe swap him and skip round. But you know, I think there's a real good chance he'll definitely get a one cap before the next World Cup, and he'll be in that World Cup squad. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. I feel like he's a bit more of an attacking player, is he not, than Curtis Jones, as opposed to being that middle.
He is. Yeah, he is. He is. Like I say, he's when Klopp started playing him centre mid, I thought it was a bit weird, just because I always thought he was a winger or like more like a number 10. But yeah, he's also. I've watched him, and when I've watched him, I've thought you're better than Curtis Jones. So therefore, I've got him at the 3. I also just didn't think of Curtis Jones, but I'll stay with Elliott.
That's interesting. We've been very complimentary to each other. I am going to disagree. I don't think he's good enough to get in, because I've got pretty high expectations for Liverpool this year, if I'm honest, and I think a lot of the players who perhaps weren't turning up as much, as long as they stay fit, but then I think with a fit Liverpool squad, he struggles to get in very much. And also, he can fuck off for the Harry Kane thing.
What was that?
That was him slagging off Harry Kane on social media, wasn't it? When he a couple of years ago, he was doing the impression of Harry Kane talking and got in trouble for it.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
I think he called him. I think he called him a rude word.
Right.
Oh fuck! I hope it's him. That's terrible.
Well, I would trust your knowledge on people being disrespectful towards Harry Kane.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's something that would stick with you. So
check the list, Austin. Yeah, I think I think that was him who did that. He was slagging him off on social media and doing impressions of him. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I've said it, and now maybe that makes it even more reason for him to go in the squad, just so Harry can give him a hiding. But yeah, that's actually it's actually the first thing I think of when I think of Harvey Elliott. It's like you can rebrand Lad Bible, but I remember what it used to be. Harvey Elliott can say sorry as much as he wants, but
yeah, it's fair. No, I'm glad. Well, I'm not, but in a way, I'm glad that you did disagree with one of mine, and that one I do understand. Is yeah, no, yeah, I'll stick with it. I'm not going to doubt my own choice. Harvey Elliott, he'll be in England one cap one day, and potentially even swiftly move on to more.
Yeah, certainly possible. Yes. Let's move on. I'll go for my third choice pick. If you were to look at the list of one cat wonders, you would see quite a lot of goalkeepers fall in, and we're quite good at goalkeepers at the minute. If in the England outfit, we've got 2, 3 very strong goalkeepers. But Southgate, he has brought up a 4th goalkeeper on occasion when he fancied Bettinelli, and now Bettinelli never played. He's a no cap. He got called up. So on the logic of bringing up some young keepers to get a bit of time in the squad and potentially get a half maybe in a game, I'm going to go for James Trafford, new Burnley signing.
Yes.
And there's a little bit of bias because my Bolton roots, I want to back the guy who was playing for Bolton last year because he was very good. And it seems a little bit mental that someone was playing for League One in Bolton yesterday and then signs for 19 million to a Premier League club. That doesn't really happen very often. I mean, it didn't happen when Bolton were in the Premier League. So it's mad. I just think goalkeepers can often be one cap fodder. And if this guy's had such a meteoric rise so quickly, He could get a run out. I don't see him getting any more game time than that because there's so many other keepers. But we get an injury or two, and we're playing. We're playing Malta in November. I think maybe he gets a run out there or something.
Yeah, I like that pick. I really wanted to squeeze a goalkeeper into mine. I haven't. Spoiler alert. So I'm glad you did, because I agree with you. I think they're great one cap fodder.
I don't know what if there's anyone else who would be more likely than Trafford. To be honest, at this stage.
I think Angus Gunn is now playing for Scotland. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was looking at him and Bettinelli actually because I knew they were like called up to squad, but no cap.
I forgot about Angus Gunn.
But then, and I was thinking putting Angus Gunn in at my 5 or 4 just to get a keeper in, but then, yeah, I think he's now playing for Scotland, so that's why I didn't put keeper in. Yeah, Trafford's a good shout, not someone I had on my radar, but like it a lot. And I am aware of him. I know who he is, and he's meant to be a very good keeper.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it could go the other way. As that happens, like, I mean, well, you signed Darlow. Darlow's a good keeper, but he was starting for a few games with Newcastle like not that long ago, really, and then drifted away. And Freddie Woodman was up there as well. And now he's a Preston, maybe, So they do fall off quickly. So
yeah, it could go one or two ways, and I think right now it probably would take a lot even to get a one cap past, who you dealing with at the moment? Pickford, Ramsdale. Would you say they're the 1-2? And Pope.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but look, it's definitely not out of the question. And I like it. I just like there's a keeper in. I was really hoping and banking on you having a keeper in.
Of course.
So that's great. Okay, my number 2, and it was a real toss-up between my 1 and 2, but I've gone for Levi Colwill.
Oh, interesting.
To be honest, I've not actually seen too much of him, so I'm going on pure reputation and what I've heard. From minimal bits I've seen, he's pretty decent. I think I'm right in saying that he can play either left back or centre back. And I think either of those positions right now would give you a great chance of getting a one cap.
Certainly.
And he seems to be the next big thing in those positions. And yeah, I think as long as he stays fit and he's getting regular game time, then I think he's an absolute shoo-in, probably even this season, I would say.
That is an interesting thing to say. I agree. I've got him on my sheet here.
Yeah.
The only reasons I didn't put him in was the main reason I think I got 3 Chelsea players on here, and the thing is I just don't know. I said there's no. It doesn't matter how much you know about football. It doesn't seem to be a really logical thing to say about Chelsea right now. No one really knows who's going to play. No one even knows if Lukaku's there. Like, it's they don't really know who's playing and stuff like that. So that's why I found it myself difficult to pick someone. I wouldn't name players because I don't want to spoil in case you got one later. But yeah, that's my point. But he obviously is very good at football. Let's be honest. And if Poch rates him, he'll have an England cap this season.
Yeah, I think he's, by all accounts, he's going to have a big season with Chelsea. And I think I know, and yeah, you're right, it is hard to say about Chelsea right now, but if Poch does his thing and works his magic, the young players in that squad are going to benefit more than young players in any other team in the league. And I think Levi Colwill, if what everyone's saying, like I say, I've not seen him that much, but if what everyone's saying is true, then I think he's a guaranteed. So yeah, I'm happy with that as a 2. I'm actually really happy I didn't put him as the 1 now. But
Oh,
yeah, but yeah, I'll stick with him at the 2. Very happy with that. Yours, please, Robert.
yeah. I suppose it's good with a Chelsea England player because they'll either do play for Chelsea and do well and get the England call up, or they'll go on loan to Crystal Palace, do well. So it's a
Yeah,
really
he's getting one either way. So it's a safe bet.
Okay, this is one which that's a good choice, mate. That's a good choice. This is one people are going to go. No, you're wrong. He's already played for England. He hasn't. And I'm a little bit harsh on him. I don't think he's a bad player. I just don't really see what he's so good at. And now there's more competition at the squad. He's not going to get as many games. I'm going to go for Anthony Gordon as a on cap. Now,
Yeah,
there's been so much talk of Anthony Gordon, and he's. I think he's too expensive to not play for England now. And I know that sounds silly, but I think that's true. I think he's going for too big a price tag for him not to have an England call up. Probably we're playing Australia and Italy soon, aren't we? I think that'll be the period. One cap season. He's Newcastle. He went for a lot of money last Jan, didn't he? And of course, he plays the under 21s and puts in a good shift to them. Got a good goal ratio. But I think Harvey Barnes is the man. So I don't think he's getting. I think Harvey Barnes is always going to play ahead of him. And look at the depth they're now building at Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle could sign 2 more world class players before the end of the season. You know, I think Harvey. That's Harry Elliott. Anthony Gordon's a good player, but I just don't think he's just not nearly as good as some of the other players in that squad. And yeah, that's what I think.
but you're still putting him forward.
Oh, but I put him forward because he's too expensive not to play. He'll get a call up. Sorry, that's me criticizing him not playing
Yeah.
games. I think he's going to get a shout because he's a youth and everything. But yeah.
Yes, interesting. This is not one I'm 100% disagreeing with you on, but it's one I'm going to contend a bit. He's not set the world alight at Newcastle so far, and he's still very young, so there's loads of time, and he could about to have like a amazing season. But just based from what I've seen, both at Newcastle and Everton, I'm not sure he was necessarily even that good at Everton.
I agree.
Personally,
I agree.
He could easily go and just never have one cap. I think at some point down the line he probably will, but I think the players you've mentioned so far are potentially more likely to have one in the near future.
That's yeah.
He's maybe more likely than James Trafford, maybe, but yeah, that's one I had him written down on my sheet, but wasn't really in contention for me.
Yeah, but don't forget we're going not just to get called up, to go up and play once to get the one cap and not be there.
Yeah.
I just, for our reasons of him not being that, thinking he's that good, is the reason why he would stay at 1. You know, I think the hype and sometimes I do think a lot of people, all these pundits must know more about me, more than me.
Really?
They must know something I don't realize about him for him to cost that much money. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, what can we say? What can we say about Anthony Gordon? That's the entire month of January didn't already say because I got sick of that transfer rumor. You take us home, mate. You take us home on who you think is your most likely.
It's an interesting one because this player that I've picked, I don't even necessarily rate that highly. Actually, I potentially rate the last 2 players I've said bit more. But I saw an interview with him. I'm building the suspense here. I saw an interview with him the other day. An interview where he specifically addressed that he would love to be in Gareth Southgate's next squad. And I think people wouldn't be giving such interviews if perhaps maybe they'd heard in the grapevine that they're in line for a call up. And because of that, I'm picking Morgan Gibbs White.
Oh, I completely forgot about Morgan Gibbs White, and that's a great shout. That's a great shout. But one cap? No?
Yeah.
No, okay, no, I mean, look, he'll get a call up, I think, at some point.
Yeah. I just think he's not that good.
You heard it here first, folks.
I just think he's not that great. And I think he will definitely get a cap. But I also think that he's a player that if he doesn't improve, like, he's currently at Notts Forest, and you probably say he's one of their best players, which is fair. Also pretty good in that England 21 setup as well. But I think he'll definitely get a cap, and then I think to get more, he'd have to really improve on his game and get a big move. I don't think Forest are there to stay in the Prem for that long. And I just don't know if he's that good. But I think he is going to be called up in this next squad, and I think he will get game time. Become a one cap in the process, and then I think he may never play again.
I think I completely agree with you, if I'm honest. I think I completely agree. I
sold you.
I might be a little bit more optimistic about Forest overall this season, but it's a fair point. And also, you look at that list of one caps, I think Morgan Gibbs White sounds like a one cap. I don't know. It certainly fits on that list. That's a very good argument, mate. I don't know how to say anything against it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's the one I think makes most sense, and it's also the one I think is the most likely out of my list as well to be capped once and only be capped once.
Yeah,
I just think it's the solid argument I've got for an out and out one cap. So yeah, like I said, I was going to put Levi Cole in the one, but I think he probably. The thing is, I've not seen him play much, so I thought maybe he's actually really, really good and will play loads and loads of times for England, which he probably might. But Morgan Gibbs White, that's my number one, and I can't wait to hear yours.
Excellent argument. My one cap is I'm nervous because you were very complimentary of me earlier on my other picks. He plays in the Championship right now, but the thing is, I think he will go to the Premier League before the end of the window. And he had a great season last year. And the reason I'm so confident of picking him is because when we played this game about 18 months ago, who do you think will be the next England one cap? I said this person. So I got to stick by my guns. So I'm going to Southampton's Nathan Tella.
I didn't think you were going to go there.
I'll tell you for that's Southampton right now. Absolute baller for Burnley last season. Scored about 17, 18 goals in the league. I don't fancy Burnley this year. But I think if Nathan, he's played so well last year, if he is in a Premier League game and let's say scores 2 in 5 goals at the start of the season, I think that whole amount of form is enough to get him called up to the England squad based on that form last year and the form this season. It would make me right. So that'd be wonderful. But then he's going to be at Burnley this year. a team I don't think is going to do very well, and he'll go back to the Championship next year, and that'll be all she wrote. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I respect you for sticking to your guns.
I also believe it. I'm not being a dickhead and being like,
yeah. No. I think it's totally valid. Yeah, it's really good one pick. It's really good one pick. I'd say he definitely borders more on the side that he definitely may never get capped at all. That's the big risk here.
oh yes, certainly yes, yeah, exactly. Some of the other ones we've said might get more potentially.
Yeah. A lot of my lists really, I think, have got decent potential to get more. But yeah, I think we've both got good ones there, and I'm not going to disagree with Taylor because.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we're running out of time, but I just had a few. Just going to fire quick honourable mentions that I had on my list.
Yeah, go for it.
Correct me if he's already been capped. I don't think he has. Eddie Nketiah, I had as
nope,
potential.
not capped yet. Not capped yet. That's a good shout. Yeah.
Yeah, if maybe I should have actually put him on because he's definitely one that.
That's a really good shout. I did not have him on my list now.
Yeah, maybe I should. I had Dan Burn on my list.
Oh, great shout! Come on, Dan.
You want to know that the only reason I didn't put him on was because I thought you were definitely going to say it.
Oh no! Oh my! I cannot believe I didn't put him.
I was literally going to have him in at the 3 or 4, but I thought you were a shoo-in. So
fucking.
Let's reverse time and pretend one of us put Dan Burn in there. Who else did I have? Well, Jack Harrison. I said him before, like when you said Nathan Teller. And then another one I had, and I did no actual. I didn't even look and see if he was English or anything. Like Kiernan Dewsbury Hall at Leicester.
Yeah, I think he's English.
Kieran. I forgot. Is it Kieran? I don't know.
It's Kieran or not?
Yeah. Dewsbury Hall, I think, is potential good one as well. But
both honourables, I was thinking. Those are interesting ones. I wish for Dan Burn. I thought at Chelsea you got is Lewis Hall another guy?
Yeah,
got Lewis Hall and Chalobah too, not to be confused with the other England one cap wonder. But Chalobah might actually be going to Crystal Palace this year, which isn't a joke. And I don't know, for the same reason I said Kilman, Mason Holgate, if he started playing well, got one cap.
Yeah.
That's because it's Sean Dyche and Dwight McNeil maybe, but they're further step backs than the ones we've already said, to be honest with you. Yeah, well, I think we've done quite well there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, real fun making that list and sharing it with you.
You should be listening to this probably the day before or the day of football coming back, sometime between the women's game and Premier League starting. That'll be a good time to get your football fix. Yeah, everyone, let us know if you got any other better suggestions, and hopefully have some more content coming soon.
Indeed.
Right.
Pleasure, mate. As always.
Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.